Think about a project you were in a scene and you were thinking, oh my God, this is a disaster. This is not going to work out.
You might have nicest tool,
Nicest systems, nicest everything, cutting edge tech.
but the change management is also very important. Data does not tell you everything. Data has its own blindsidedness or blind spot, which cannot be outlived with a human life experience. When you believe on data, you should also believe on human at the same time. Everybody knew that okay, this might be going to be problem in future, but the leadership was too focused or too narrowly focused on just delivering the automation. You should always fall in love with the problem, not the solution, because
Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of Transformation Reality TV, where we talk about the human side of the business transformation, the real stories, real humans, real absurdity. Today, we have Praveen Tomar in the house. He's head of data automation at Ofgem, which basically means he helps the UK's energy regulator stop drowning in spreadsheets and manual processes. Praveen's been doing transformation work for over 23 years. Government departments, investment banks, you name it. He's a Six Sigma black belt, which sounds even more incredible than Bruce Lee. He sits on Forbes Technology Council. He's won awards for programs that actually work. But ask Praveen what makes transformation successful. He won't talk about the tech, he'll talk about people, about removing barriers instead of creating them. And working in government, that's taught him a thing or two about what really matters when everything moves slowly and the stakes are high. Let's hear what Praveen has to say.
Hi Praveen, welcome to the show and thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us about your experience of the human side of transformation. And I think over the years you've been involved in many technology transformation. And I think what we are really interested in talking about today for our audience is what happens when things go wrong and how it affects the humans, and not necessarily things go wrong. Even when are going okay, it's still, you have all that people aspect, people perspective. So that's what we want to sort of talk about. So to start with, uh, think about a project that you were in and tell us when, for example, you were in a scene and you were thinking, oh my God, this is a disaster. This is not going to, this is not going to work out. Oh, it's like sudden realization. Can you take us through a like that scene where you were, what was the context, who you were with, so we can bring it to life a little bit.
thanks, Sujita. Thanks for having me. And really, looking forward for this exciting chat, covering the or uncovering the human side of transformation. We often, you rightly mentioned, focus on too much on technology, process, systems, etc. But sometimes we forget, right? Okay, there are people also involved, humans are also involved. So that's really good. And to begin with, I would like to start with one of my transformation uh, project which failed miserably. That story, and I'm not talking about the process or the technology or the tool didn't work or whatever. So it was the RPA project roughly around 10 years back when we started with leading investment bank UBS based out of Liverpool Street, London, back in 2016. And it was very new thing. The low code platform RPA was upcoming, and everybody wants to be part of it. Like nowadays chat AI or generative AI, everybody wants to have something in generative AI or agentic AI. So in those days everybody wanted to have all the banks. So this was the pressure was quite similar the way we have right now, like cut the cost, improve the efficiency, like improve the productivity of business processes, right? And so I used to work for an IT consulting firm, and it was a big team, like around 7 to 8 people uh, in UK, and there was other counterparts as well in United States and India and Switzerland as well, Zurich. So it was a global transformation program, right? So identifying middle office business processes from investment bank and automating using simple low code automation tool RPA in those days. The tool was called, I'm not sure many of may not have heard about it, called Cicero. It was very, I would say low profile tool, but it was good in those days. And we have identified, massive list of business processes which can be automated using this, technological transformation revolution in those days. And we have identified a massive list of business processes, and we built the code, and we deployed automation. So what happened? So the the story had two-sided. One is automation was successful, was tremendous success. We have built 54 automation across the globe, like not only in UK but in US and India and Switzerland as well. But the purpose of automation was defeated. And why I'm saying the purpose of automation, to bring the efficiency. So when we started identifying the business process, oh, this is manual process, rule-based process. This fits into our, the criteria of assessment, and let's automate. But we forgot the various aspect of business process, and we didn't know, honestly. I mean, we didn't, I would say, smart enough or educated enough in those days. Like,
When did you
the
realize? When
yeah.
when was the point when you realized that?
Yeah, we realized when we delivered the project,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So the bank
Okay.
hired a third-party consulting firm, Deloitte. Later on, I worked for the Deloitte as well. But the
Right.
Deloitte came and they said, okay, fine. These guys are technical people. Because I used to work for IT consulting.
Yes.
They did a
Yes.
fantastic job. They've identified so
Yeah.
many processes, and they've built so many automation solutions.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
But the
You
problem was
did what
that
you
the
were
process,
asked for. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But we forgot, right? The processes which picked up, which are required necessarily, human in the loop. I mean, human intervention needed, because those were the processes related with legal compliance, HR, right? So which you cannot, yeah, the can automation automate? Yes, it can. But should we automate? No, because there is a mandatory 2i 4i verification required from the process. So that's why they said we cannot automate. We have to cut down the steps from the processes. So let's say, just for an example, one of the middle office process was client onboarding, or account transfer, nestor account transfer from one place to another place. The regulatory process in itself say it has to be humanly verified. So though all the data can be transferred and picked up from the one system to another system using RPA tool and feed into the downstream processes to complete the task. But the ask was, hey, have anybody read the regulatory requirement? Anybody read the connected with the people? And that was the problem. That was the
Yes.
big miss. Like, we did connect with the program lead. We did
Yes.
connect with the team's manager, like the business unit who
Partner or
used to
business. Yeah.
were the process owners. We did connect, but we didn't connect. Probably that was the big mistake, or that was the probably the, I would say, the oversight, right? We all were excited because the process owner or the person who owns the process said, yeah, yeah, this is a good process automated. Yeah, and we got the document, we sat with them and did the walkthrough and capture the screens, etc., and automated using the automation tool Cicero. But we didn't ask, hey, why you are doing this process? Who asked you to do it? And what is the background of this process? It's a regulatory process. We have to report out this process to the UK FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, and the process in itself, say very simply, it has to be four-eyed verification. It has to be gone through with two eye first, the person who is doing, and the second eye with set of eyes which are supervisor.
I
So
see.
that cannot be automated, right? You want to automate and very much automatable, but you should not be automating it. So
Right.
that's the lesson
Right.
learned. So that's why I
Right.
said the automation was huge success, but the purpose of automation was defeated. So
Right.
later on, we have to cut down all those automation from the processes, right?
Steps
And
and
ultimately,
introduce manual
yeah,
like
so
intervention, which
we
yeah,
did we
got it.
didn't get the good benefit. So the purpose of automation to bring in efficiency got beaten by miles. So that was the very very good example, I would say.
Right. I see. Thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. Um, think about if you think about all the people involved in not necessarily that project, but any other project that you've been on. Was there a time that comes to your mind where one person made it impossible for the transformation to happen, or there is this one person who like single-handedly made it possible?
Yeah, so that's a really pertinent question, that why we didn't get the in the project, right? The why we have had that oversight on the the regulatory process, why we didn't touch base with the actual processes. And the reason being, the leadership of the, I was not the leader, of course. I was one of the senior consultant in those days, 10 years back. So the leadership was, I would say, very very siloed in terms of their vision. They just wanted to deliver, and I won't say just get their billing and get their benefit and run away, right? I'm not saying that, but they had a very narrow vision in terms of what they want to achieve very quickly. And the moment you ask the question or try to ask a question, they shut you down. No, no, what we have asked you to do it, just do it. You don't have to do the critical thinking. And that was the problem. The communication, the openness was again the people angle, right? So when the communication is not transparent, and when you have a atmosphere of fear and anxiety amongst the team, nobody will speak up, and nobody did, right? So everybody knew that okay, this might be going to be problem in future, but the leadership was too focused or too narrowly focused on just delivering the automation. They didn't care actually that hey, why we are selecting this process, why we are trying to automate. So very good, the the lesson which I have learned from that, right? You should always fall in love with the problem, not the solution, because problem where the people live with those problems.
Yes, that is such a, I mean, see, people talk about the whole transparency and openness in a lot of different respects, right? They talk about how the environment is more psychologically safe, for example, or maybe retention point of view. But what you're talking about, and I totally resonate with this as well, given my, what I've experienced is this is not just about people feeling good and it's their well-being and retention of employees. This is essentially making something like work actually successful or completely failed because you either didn't feel comfortable asking or you just chose not to ask because of whatever reason or not being open. I think that's an amazing lesson. Was there anything ever um, in your transformation journey that you thought was like this is the most absurd thing that you could ever happen? I mean, if you tell anybody outside, they wouldn't believe it. Like, was there anything ever like that?
This is also another very good example. Few years back I was working,
You have a lot of
uh,
examples for all these questions.
24 years of experience bring a lot of
Yes,
good and bad memories. So
yes.
this is, I would say, the reality check memory. We were delivering a very very large piece of data transformation and data visualization project, uh, program, I would say, not a project, right? For a government department in UK. And we said, oh, we have automated, all the dashboards are up and running, nice, shiny, and everything is good, right? You don't have to touch anything. All the systems are talking to each other, and all the data is being pulled nicely in automated way and presented it nicely. But when we saw that the senior leaders are taking printout of those dashboards, then we realized, okay, there is a problem with the culture. You did everything, but these, what's the point of digitalization or what you call digitization when people are not able to understand? They say, oh,
Right.
the yeah, so they said they need to take printout, and they were printing probably hundreds of pages of those dashboard. I said it does not make sense. I mean, we failed miserably. We couldn't convince them, right, that
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Yeah, so
yes.
that was the cultural,
Mm.
yeah, so that was cultural challenge. First time we realized, okay, you might have nicest tool, nicest process,
Nicest systems,
and
nicest everything, cutting edge tech. Oh, yeah, yeah.
but the change management is also very very important, and change involve people again, human. So unless you convince them, and convince them convincingly, if you could just convince them to use the tool for just to look nice, that okay, one of the business unit head is using Power BI for dashboarding and real time data analytics, that sounds really nice and exciting. But in reality, that person is taking lots of printout to understand and read those dashboards. That's not right. So that was the very shocking, and that was the awe moment, right? Okay, so we did so much of work, 18 months, left, right, and center, and this is the result. Then we failed to deliver the message, like like if in nowadays, if you use uh, everybody, I mean, most of the organization, they have the generative AI tool, or Microsoft Copilot or Chat GPT or similar tool in their organization, and they say, yeah, it's a very good tool, employees go ahead, use it, improve your productivity, and it's a co-pilot, it will work along with you, it will not take your job and all those nice things. But they forgot to give that training, right? Like, hey, prompt engineering or the context engineering, right? So when you ask the question, GPT especially, they have it has the capability to extract information from Reddit and Facebook, and it will present you in such a nice structured way, and it will, that's called hallucination. It will appear like it's coming from the some nice book coming directly from Oxford, right? So you will tend to believe, but when you push it back, hey, what are the citation for the
Yes,
information? Then you say, I picked up from Reddit. Then you say, oh,
yes,
right, Reddit is a gossip
yeah,
platform, right? Reddit is a community driven, and it's not even weighted. It's not the peer reviewed. It's anybody can post anything to everything, right? So, like, some gossip news channel or some gossip magazines,
yes,
pick the information from
yes.
there as well, which does not make sense. So if you don't teach your employee, hey, use it
Mm.
for productive improvement, but use it with pinch of salt. You have to learn the prompt engineering. You need to learn to ask the citation, the source of information, and then also you have to do your own research before you quote the same data set somewhere else, right? Because you own it, you searched it, and you are presenting. So you can't blame it that chat gpt or the copilot has not, like I told you, I might have told you, like, if from ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot, if you ask them to generate a random number 1 to 29, majority of time it's generate a one number, magic number called 17, which is quite surprising. I mean, how it is possible? Like, for Rujita, for Praveen, or for XYZ, if we are asking the same question in different location,
It is still
the tool
generating
should
the same.
give us different generate a
Yeah,
random number, right? But it's
yeah.
not. It's generating a random number. 17 is still a but it cannot be consistent across the users. That's
Mm.
a big logical flaw. Or there is a somebody person sitting behind the chat GPT screen and giving the throwing the number. That's very
It's
scary.
interesting.
Like,
I didn't know that. I'm going to test that out now.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay, cool. So thank you. That was a really good example of it's really funny. Now it feels funny, but I can imagine how it must have been like heart sank moment for you. Um, what do you think these experiences asked from you as a person, like from human side? Like, what do you think you had to sort of ask, like change or shift or think differently? Or what was it that you had to, you think, change or do differently in this whole journey? Or any specific incidents or any of these ones where you thought, okay, that really asked me to be quite, like really moved me in a different direction in some ways.
No, Rajita, this is really really good question, and I really want to answer it with my utmost honesty and my real life experience. You know, the blind sided of when we go by too much by data. Data is a combination of people's life experience, their decision making, or it also include their biases, right? So data does not tell you everything, right? So data has its own blind-sidedness or blind spot, and which cannot be outlived with a human life experience. So when you believe on data, you should also believe on human at the same time, right? So if you're trying to solve a problem, or if you're trying to build some kind of smart automation or something, always connect with people, because people are the real storytellers, right? Data will tell you some sort of the story from those persons, but they won't tell you exactly that what kind of biases, what kind of information influence were they when they captured this data, or the decision they've made, because data is a collection of decisions, collection of humans experience. So don't trust data blindly. Also believe, combine the story with trust in the combination of the data plus human stories, and then try to believe it, right?
I think
So
that's just a completely different view of what you just said then, because you hear, I think in a way, us humans, or most of us humans, we focus so much on data because we think that it's objective, that it's not subjective, right? So we are trying to get these dashboards and these numbers because we think numbers are not subjective and they're objective. And what you're saying right there is in your experience, what you've learned is actually data is not as objective, because it's, even though the numbers are there, underneath those numbers, you have all these biases and all these humans either entering data or doing whatever they want to do with it. It's sort of, yeah, I didn't think about it that way at
And
all.
very good example, if you try to, draw a correlation or the, correlation diagram between the the school kids, in UK, their maths score versus rain in Singapore,
Hmm.
it will still show there is a correlation because you are running between two data sets, and you will see that okay, rain has got something to do with the, test score of pupils in peoples in UK. There's no relation, so you need to use common sense as well. Hey, data is not at all correlated there.
Yes.
So you cannot outlive the human experience and
Hmm.
common sense by analyzing the data, right? So all the maths stats, they are good, they are nice to have, but but don't underestimate the power of common sense and also the
I
human interaction.
I literally read this thing the other day. I think it was day before yesterday. It came up on my feed. It said, "Common sense is not common."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think you're so right. So if you now look back and let's say you were giving an advice to Praveen on day one of this journey, what would you say to him?
So first thing first, the uh, though it's not available or it should be available in those days, something called empathy chart, right? So while you're doing stakeholder mapping, again I'm going to technical, but also you need to create empathy chart. And again, the don't fall in the love with the solution. As soon as you see you are any transformation project, you want to solve the problem. Don't try to solve. Fall in love with the problem, and the problem is the thing which people are living with those problem, right? So connect with them, interact with them, and live a one day, shadow them, right, to understand how much pain they are feeling or why they are feeling pain and what is the need of any kind of transformation or automation or digitization or data analytics pipeline. So once you live with them, then you will be able to solve in a right way.
You're so right. And I think you speak the same language that I speak, especially in this. Like, I just find this conversation so amusing because we've both come at similar place from from different parts almost, because it's exactly how I feel that when I'm running strategy sessions, more than half, sometimes 70-80% of the day goes into problem space. Let's figure out why, not just that this is a problem, but underneath that problem, what is the actual problem? And you're so right, like we have a natural instinct, all of us do, where we want to solve and in fact, a lot of times when you ask people, what do you need? They won't give you what they need. They would give you a solution already, because that's how we all think. So yeah, thank you so much. I think it's been very, very enlightening, and I think you've really surfaced some amazing insights. Especially, I love the one about data. I hadn't thought about it that way. Thank you so much for being here.
And also there is a very interesting and positive story which I've learned in one of my transformation project. That was again long time back, so it was an ask, it was not an ask, so we were working for an investment bank in Tampa, Florida,
Hmm.
and the ask was again to automate the business processes, right, and bring in the efficiency
Hmm.
and deliver. So that was the main ask from us and our team. So we did reach out to the various, stakeholder business process owners, and they had a lot of resistance, like, these guys will implement some kind of automation and my job, I will lose my job, and they were not opening up.
Right.
Yeah, so that was the one of the challenge. and but before that, I'll just share one very small story before that, right? So one of the, the managing director, that guy was having a secretary and personal assistant, I would say. She was having a job of, collecting the data which gets, it was investment banking, so they used to collect the data for latin market, Latin American market at morning. She used to get all the details, all the reports in the morning 4 a.m. So her job is to compile and crunch the data from morning 6 a.m. to 8, and send out those dashboards to, you know all the, senior management team. right? Because 8 a.m. is the time when the US market opens, right? So they can make the decision. So that has to be done by 8 at any cost, right? So people have maximum time to take the decision when they have the reports in front of them, right? So trading starts, I think, 8 a.m. So uh, she used to come to office every day at 8 a.m. 6 a.m. 6 a.m. she has to come and start doing everything. So generally it was a simple process, but it used to take 1.5 hour, and half an hour was the buffer time. So I asked her. So she said she used to come from. We used to. Our office was in Tampa downtown, and she used to come from Polka County. So I said, "Oh, you must be leaving home at very early." She said, "It takes 1.5 hour from Polka County to drive to
Oh
the
my
Tampa downtown."
God. Right.
She used to wake up at every day at 3:30 so she can
Oh
ready.
my
So
God.
she told me that she has seen her kids growing horizontally and on the bed, because when you leave at morning 3:30,
Oh
and she
no.
was that was her main job. So I said, when I said, okay, can I see what kind of work you are doing? So she gave me a walkthrough, and then I realized, oh, this I can automate maybe in half an hour. Then she couldn't believe it. I said, okay, give me 1 day time. And I sat with my team and we automated everything. So as soon as, all the input files, land into, her mailbox, the tool will trigger automatically from the system clock, let's say 4 a.m. in the morning, and it crunches all the data, apply the business rule, and send the nice final dashboard at 6 a.m. to everybody. And it takes 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. So we demonstrated next day. She was shocked and she was crying. She said, I'm doing this work from last 9 years, and 9 years every day I used to wake up at 3:30 Monday to Friday, of course. uh, and this tool is so good, so nice, right? Like, I don't have to come at morning 6. And that
Right.
was such a, it's not saving 2 hours from someone's life. It's the kind of, the life which she was missing, and she was complaining, and she got that life back in those 1 day effort. So
That's
that
an
was magnificent
incredible
win.
story.
And
That's really
sometimes we
incredible.
so bogged up. There is a famous
In the
line in
tech, but what is the actual impact on somebody's life? Yeah,
people's life. Yeah.
totally. Totally agree.
So, there is a very famous line in Jurassic Park movie. I forgot the line. Like, they were so busy in finding the invention, they forgot what they want to invent. Right. So there was something like that. I forgot exactly.
Yeah.
It's a very popular line. They were so busy in doing the carry out their work, and they forgot why they are doing it, and is there a better way of doing it, right? So you have to sometimes
Mm.
take pause and take a step back and rethink.
True, but sometimes people are you like we are all stuck in a rut. So it's somehow I call them outsider, but it is an outsider in perspective. When somebody else comes in and sees the same thing and they see a different view of that the person, even though they are in it all day long, every day, they can't see it themselves. So I think I'm really like I really feel very grateful for you to share these stories because it really brings to light. I feel when you walk into these IT departments, people feel like, this is all very geeky and nerdy and everything. But what we're talking about right now, what you're sharing is such a massive impact of technology on somebody's life. And I'm sure there are many, many such examples, but seeing it, when you share it and seeing it from your point of view, I think it just makes it must feel really rewarding to
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
in that place.
You have to question everything why we are doing it. And
Yes,
also the point which you have made, right, that if the moment you walk into any IT team or any programmer setting, you will find geek and nerd. No, it's not like that. That's the perception created by the
yes,
Hollywood, that most of the
yes.
computer genius.
That is true. That is true.
No, that's not right. And
Yeah.
all the the beautiful girl, they are cheerleader or high school leader, or that's not
Yeah,
right.
and they are not programmers. I don't know why they are
Yeah,
not
it's not
programmers.
like
I'm
that.
a programmer.
If, if a girl is topper, she must be gothic or nerd, or no, it's not. That's a perception created by Hollywood. It's not true,
Yes,
and we need to break it. We need to break it. Like, the the football player can be ugly and the geek can also smart, right?
yes,
So
yes,
the Hollywood message gives that all the the football stars are good looking, and they are not good in studies, but all the geeks who with the specs,
yes,
or a Asian
yes,
Chinese person,
yes.
he's a
Right?
genius, right? That's the perception created by Hollywood, right? So we don't have to fall
True,
for it.
true. Point taken. Thank you so much, Praveen. It was such a wonderful conversation.